do with this. Kia ora and welcome to Te Karere. I'm so nervous. I want to get it wrong. I want to have to do it a million times. Kia ora tātou. My name's Hoira. If you don't know or you haven't seen me before, I make videos predominantly for diving. I've taken a little bit of time off just to reassess what my channel looks like and how I could be more authentic and organic to the content that I create. The reason why I started my channel was because when I first started diving, I couldn't find any relevant videos from Aotearoa on how to start, where to start, what to look for, anything like that. So just basic beginning diving stuff. So today's video is about the gear that I use. I am a experienced amateur diver, and by that I mean that I've had no experience, no professional experience. I've never taken a PADI course or a diving course, a free diving course. Everything that I know is purely based off experience and my own experience. So what I use may not be what somebody else uses. This is purely what I use, and yeah, take with it what you will. Anyways, so this is my diving gear and what I use. I'm going to run through it real quick because I've already done this once before, so I'm going to hope it works out well this time. So first you have your wetsuit. This is a 5mm Moray Revolution wetsuit. I bought it from Ocean Hunters in Wellington. That just acts as your base layer. You want to have something, especially in the colder months, just to keep you covered and warm and insulated for, you know, the cold weathers, especially if you're doing long dives. So I use that. Next, got my fins. These are Cressy fins. I got these from the bro David. You can honestly use any fins that you want. I started off with just little swimming fins. They work perfectly, but once I found myself going to the depth that I do now, I obviously needed to upgrade. So these help you glide through the water more easily. You want decent fins if you're going to go out further than just shore diving, because if you get caught in currents and rips, then you want to be able to get yourself out. So make sure you have a good pair of fins. Next is the mask and snorkel. You want to have a good mask and snorkel because obviously they act as eyes of the sea. So you want to have something that fits your face really well, and obviously it's test and trial for everyone. What I use may not work for Tommy down the road, so yeah, it's just really test and trial, see what happens. But make sure it fits your face really well and the snorkel sits fine. So yeah, don't forget the mask and snorkel. Next is your weight belt. This will, oh, crayfish. Somebody caught a crayfish. So next is the weight belt. You want to make sure you have a good amount of weight on your weight belt so that the buoyancy of your wetsuit won't just keep you up. It'll help you get down and be on an equal balance when you're underneath the water. So I use 12 kgs for my weight and my height and the mill of my wetsuit. This works just fine, but this fluctuates if I was to lose weight or if I was to change my wetsuit or just wear one piece of the wetsuit, then I could add or take off some weight. So test and trial again with this. When you're trying out a weight belt, go really shallow and see what works for you. Yeah, so there's that. Next are my catch bags. When I first started diving, I went to cash converters, and it was honestly a steal. It'll be an experience that I'll never forget. I walked into a cash converters and there was this bag full of diving gear. I went with the intention that I was going to go find some diving gear, and there was this bag full of everything. Some things I still use today, so this is one of them. This is my catch bag. This is if I'm doing big dives like kaupapa dives or wānanga dives, I'll use this. If I'm just going out for feed, I'll use this. So yeah, I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but this just connects to the top of my float and it just hangs out the top of my float like that. Put the kai in, continue diving. This one here I made myself. I just bought some net, cable tied it together, some string and a bag clip. So I just chuck it on my back. I don't recommend it at all. It can become really dangerous, especially if you're in the water. If you get tangled up on seaweed, it can become really dangerous. So like I said, it's just what I use. Don't take my stuff for word, but even just the catch bag's fine. You can put it on top of your float. It'd be mean. Next is my float. or an oil drum. So that just hangs out at the top. My 15-meter rope that connects to that, and the weight hangs out down the bottom, and so that connects down to the bottom, that connects to that, and my catch bag connects to this as well, so everything stays buoyant. But yeah, you want to have a good one. This is really important, especially if you're diving alone. You want to make sure that people can see you, so make sure you have a good float. You can buy them from anywhere, like dive shops, ocean hunters, yeah, all those things. So what have we got through? Next, the gloves. Same as a wetsuit, they come in 3mm, 5mm, 7mm. A lot of people use wetsuit specific gloves. For me, I just do small dives now, unless I'm doing big missions, like out of town missions. Then I'll go and get some real gloves, but these are just $10 from the warehouse. They're only gardening gloves. They suit me just fine. They just protect your hands from things. So if I was to grab kinners, obviously I can do it alone, but this makes it easier. Next, you want to have 2 different types of knife. I chuck this one in my catch bag for when I catch power, and this is just for if I get into situations, or if I'm spearfishing predominantly. So that just slides into my wetsuit. I've got a pocket on the side. Yeah, make sure you have a knife. And last, I have my bag. So a lot of my dives that I do are hiking dives, so I'll walk out to the spot and I'll jump in. So I have a 50-litre bag here. I just shove all my gear in here, and then my fins sit on the top. Chuck it on my bag, and away I go. So yeah, that's pretty much all the gear that I use. Like I said, this is going to fluctuate and be different for every different person, so just make sure what you're using suits you. Just because this suits me doesn't mean it's going to suit you, but this is just a basic setup of gear that you might need, or that I use. So yeah, hopefully this video was semi-informational for you fellas, or for anybody watching. Let's go out for diving. Mm.